Open Your Eyes is brought to you by the Belize Bank. Our country, your bank.
Good morning. Welcome to Open Your Eyes.
Start your morning right. I am John Palacio.
And I'm Marlene Cuellar, and thank you for joining us this morning.
Yes, ma'am. It is a lovely Wednesday morning across the country. Some place might be hotter than some, but nonetheless, we're in the jewel, Belize. And there's so many things going on across the country, and of course, that's definitely our first order of duty to let you know exactly what's going on here, there, everywhere. We've got some wonderful conversations lined up, very important conversations, as a matter of fact, lined up for this morning. But first, you know, one of the things that we always do is always highlight to you what goes on in the newscast from last night, and of course what happens throughout the week, especially with the magnitude of that particular story. And of note is the PSU, and that they've delivered their message to GOB. Hey, this is what we're going to do, and this is how we're going to actually strike our action or make our voices be heard, which is, of course, the work to rule. And your thoughts on that?
Well, it's interesting. You know, I think that we knew from Friday that, in fact, the polls that the PSU had done with their membership, they had been given this mandate. What we were told on Friday was that they would go back and consult, and the executive would discuss it. Clearly, they felt that it was the best decision for them to move forward with what their membership had asked them to do. You know, John, it's a tough time. The presentation has been made in the House that includes the salary cuts. It seems that this is definitely going to happen. Yeah. So the actions taken by the union now, I think the main question is, where will it take us? Will it allow for any changes to be made? And, you know, the work to rule, as we're being told by the PSU, is for a period of time, and then there is the possibility of industrial action. Yeah,
21
further
days.
Industrial action.
Yeah, further industrial action, but it is for a period of 21 days. It got started yesterday. But some folks might be puzzled as to what work to rule would mean, Marlene. And it's simply at government offices or place of business, what happens there. If they're to be in for 8, it is from 8 to whatever particular time. If there is anything asked of them outside of what their job description is, they won't do it. And, you know, it simply means that. It is from here to here because that is what I'm designated to do, and that's that. And it's a simple understanding, clear understanding as to what the work to rule is.
Absolutely.
And so while we're at that juncture, you know, one takes time out to wonder what or how quick, if there will be any reaction to it. So I'm sure we'll be hearing from GOB representative as to what is the course of, or actually the course that they'll be chanting forward. If something or some balance will be striked, or, you know, it's a very interesting few days or weeks or months that will be coming up for us, Marlene. And it's definitely something worth looking at. There are folks who would turn a blind eye to it at this particular point. That's not what we should do. We should always be monitoring whatsoever the occurrence is within our country, Mar.
Absolutely. And, you know, I think we have to acknowledge at times the fact that we live in a country where these types of actions are possible.
Yes.
And that's the first place to start. That we have formalized unions, that they're able to take action in this kind of way when they're not in agreement with decisions being made by the government. And that is, I mean, I think we really undervalue the fact that we live in a society that allows for these types of actions, one. Two, I think that the public service union and the unions in general are really going to be able to are going to have to keep on communicating this issue.
Yes.
You know, it feels in conversation with many people that it's just a foregone conclusion that the salary cuts are going to happen. And I get the sense that the unions feel that way as well. So how far are they willing to take it?
Yeah.
Then you have the BNTU, you have the teachers. What does a work to rule look like for teachers? Because trust me, there is no schedule when it comes to teachers. It's tough. And you know, I know this because I grew up with teachers in my household.
family,
So I know that there was never a particular work schedule there. After hours work, weekend work, lunchtime work, it's just constantly on. So I don't know what a work to rule would look like for the teachers, or what type of actions they can take at this time. Some schools are open. So if you move towards a strike action, then there would be the closure of the 50-something schools that have reopened.
Yeah.
But it is really more difficult, and I'm really focusing to find out what the teachers are going to do. They are the larger union as well.
Yeah. Speaking of the teachers, Mari, it is a passionate job. I think for those who are in the teaching industry, it is a passionate job. You must love what you do. And I'm so, there are mixed feelings as to the reopening of schools. Some 55, somewhere around there throughout the country. Yeah. And looking at the news story that we ran yesterday.
Did your children go back to school?
No, not as yet. I think this coming Monday they should be going back. But I'm happy about it because I understand what it does for the children, building on the social skills, and being firsthand in the setting that they academically learn stuff. Yeah. And so that's a good thing. But there are mixed feelings across the country. Then again, another story that we're focusing on as to how people feel. We heard from some of the principals across the country yesterday with respect to the stories that we ran. They're actually, especially EP York, I'm calling them, they actually said that, there's students who might not have been doing great throughout that particular year. So what we're doing is that we're inviting them to come on in, but it's a discretionary part on behalf of the parents. If you want to send them to school, then let's do that, but we're asking for them to come on in so we could personally work along with them. And I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, and the Ministry of Education has been absolutely clear that this is optional, that the schools make the decision, and most of the schools that we've heard from ask their parents first too. Yeah. So the parents also had a role in being able to decide with a lot of schools whether or not they needed to return to face-to-face classes. Yeah. Yeah. And I can see both sides. I can see parents saying, not right now. I don't have the finances maybe to provide them with snack money or lunch money or bus money. Or on the other side, some parents feel like they want their children to have that interaction again. This is a very interesting model that we're undertaking right now, because what you have are two modes being taught. You have children in the classroom, and then you also have children who are still at home learning. So it's delivering in two different modalities at the same time. And I think it's going to be an interesting lesson. Maybe even transforming the way we teach as we move forward. Yeah. So there are necessary steps that have to be taken. We see the health protocols being implemented, and that's a requirement for schools to be allowed to be open. But we will see. This is the first cohort, and then there's another group that can open in May, and then September is the official reopening. Yeah. If, of course, we continue to keep our numbers under control, and we can never stop saying that. Yes. It is important that we go out, we get vaccinated. They're at phase 3 now.
They're at phase 3.
Phase 3, and there are 5 phases in general. The 5th phase will be all persons, all adults, I should say. And so if you are included in any of those phases, we do encourage you to go out and get vaccinated. Talk to your doctor if it makes you feel more comfortable to get clearance from them. Yeah. And then you can go ahead and get vaccinated and start to get that protection that you need.
Definitely.
We are about 30,000 vaccinated so far.
Just about, indeed.
And our COVID numbers, we did have 10 new cases yesterday that were reported from the Ministry of Health, 16 over the weekend. So it's a little bit more than we've been seeing before. Not a massive spike, but a little bit more. We were seeing 3, none, 6, and now we're at double digits again. We have to be extra careful.
I think of note, or what folks are actually looking forward to, is what the numbers will be next week, which is, of course, something that would show following the Easter weekend. And so definitely that's what for me. I'm anxious to see what those numbers will be. Speaking of the numbers of those vaccinated, Doctora Larga Espada Bear did mention that it's somewhere around 1,000 vaccinations that are being done per day, and they want to up that number.
Yeah.
So they're asking for folks, if you're within each of those phases. Right now we're at phase 3. If you're within each of any one of those phases, they're asking for you to go on out there. And I'll tell you what, I could attest to it. The process is very smooth.
You got your jab yesterday.
I got my job yesterday, and the process is very smooth. Marlene, I am not, and I could clearly say this. I've done it on the show in terms of
and you don't like
blood.
needles.
Is there another word for it? I don't like needles, and I'd like to throw it out. And I like needle for nothing. I mean, like, seriously. And I was, hesitant in terms of the needle, but as long as I settled down yesterday, it was smooth. 2 seconds or less, it's just vroom, vroom, and I was out of there.
And look at you, you're here, you feel fine.
I feel fine, I feel good. What would be a side effect for me is a slight pain in the arm, sore in the arm, that's it.
Yeah.
But it's basically faded. It's not something that's there and overwhelming. So it is a smooth process. These people are professionals, and I've got to say kudos to the folks in the health system. Thank you. I mean, it's a smooth process, and I'm so appreciative of the fact that it was that smooth yesterday, and today could be your chance. Please, go on out there, get vaccinated.
And even if you have received your first dose of your vaccine, do remember that there are still cases out there.
Yes, there are.
You need to be able to continue with all the protocols. Wash your hands, wear your masks, watch your distance.
Definitely.
We got to keep things moving now, so that means it's time for Eye Opener. And our Eye Opener, taken from dailyom.com, goes like this. Denying your feelings is not only unhealthy for the mind and body, it may also rob you of valuable information you could be learning about yourself. Dealing with powerful emotions can be challenging, especially when we're going through chaotic, sad, or cruel experiences in our lives. Often it can seem like we have only 2 options for dealing with our feelings, so they don't become too overwhelming. The truth is that there are many positive ways to deal with emotions, and experiencing your negative feelings doesn't have to constitute a negative experience. Suppressing your emotions can even impede your short-term memory. Acknowledging your feelings can help you better understand them and help you recover naturally from change, stress, and grief. You may find yourself afraid to open up in the future for fear of getting hurt. The feelings we deny aren't limited to anger and sadness. Suppressing our happiness or excitement can be just as unhealthy. In learning how to express your intense emotions in a healthy way, you are giving yourself the freedom to fully experience the more joyful emotions that come with being alive.
Wow. This funny, right?
Yeah.
It reminds me of me being a man and how I have learned to deal with my emotions, whether it be sad, happy. I've got to say kudos to my wife for this one, Mar, because she taught me how to deal with the emotional side. Look, it's totally okay. And I could tell anybody, it's totally okay to feel the way that you feel and to express the way that you feel. It doesn't matter who you are, what gender you are. It brings to you peace of mind. You know what happens following you feeling sad and you wanting to cry and you actually let it out. You're not afraid because people are around and you're a man. You don't want for people to see you that way. You know how great it feels thereafter? That's a good feeling. Whatever the emotion is, don't try to block it. Try to dive within it and see what it brings forth to you. At the end of the day, or at least for me, as a man, I feel good.
Yeah.
It's a great feeling. I like this eye opener.
Yeah, absolutely important. For me, the critical point is in being able to build self-awareness.
Yes.
And that's something that is highly undervalued, much discussed, but really it takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
And when you have different emotions that you don't take the time to recognize, and you don't recognize how it makes you behave or how it makes you react or how it makes you function, then you are not working on building your self-awareness. So the key point is, once you're able to say, okay, this is how I feel at this moment, this is what particular, what happens when I feel fearful. This is what happens when I feel stressed. This is what happens when I feel angry. You're not learning about yourself.
Yeah.
So it is such a critical skill to develop, and we can learn to do so early as well. All right? So that is the eye-opener for today.
That is it indeed. And I just want to follow up one final thing with it, Mar. Acknowledging your feelings can help you better understand them and help you recover naturally from change, stress, and grief.
All right.
That's a good way to sum it up.
Yeah.
All
Now
right.
we got Shania Young on the line. Good
Shania,
morning.
good morning.
Good morning.
And how are you today?
I'm okay.
Shania, I'll tell you what, we're not going to keep you back too long. Let's jump on into it. The general situation, what can we expect for today?
Fair and warm weather conditions are expected to continue today over the country.
All right. And then the 24-hour forecast?
The skies will be mostly sunny today and partly clouded tonight, along with possible isolated showers or thunderstorms over inland and southern areas. But elsewhere, little to no rainfall is expected.
Ah, great. We saw some clouds over the city yesterday, 1 and 2 drips, but nonetheless, that was the past. Now, let's talk about the winds. Where should we expect these winds from, and how fast, or what's the gust?
So winds will be 10 to 20 knots with occasional higher gusts, so about 22 to 25, and this will produce moderate to rough seas. So we still have a small craft caution in effect for this morning at least.
Excellent. And temperatures for today, highs and lows for tonight?
High temperatures today along the coast will be 88 degrees Fahrenheit, inland 96 and 85 in the hills. And low temperatures tonight will be 80 degrees Fahrenheit along the coast, 74 inland, and 66 in the hills.
All right, sounding cool at 66. I like that. But let's talk about our extended forecast. What should we expect throughout the next few days?
So for tomorrow, similar weather conditions are expected. Conditions are expected to continue mostly warm and dry up until late in the weekend.
All right. I'm also
where a slight increase is expected late Sunday evening and night.
Okay. Advisors, watches, warnings, what should we look out for?
Today, since the temperatures are slightly cooler, there isn't a heat alert, but tomorrow the heat alert should resume because temperatures are expected to increase again tomorrow up until Saturday.
I was just about to ask that. I was saying we're trending downwards from the 99 and near 100, but it's going back up.
But it's not going to be as hot as it was over the weekend. So tomorrow, Friday, it's around 97.
Okay.
Only on Saturday, it will be around 99. But for today, I don't know if 96 is what you would call cool, but it's cooler compared to the past few days.
Yeah. All right. Well, Shania, we do appreciate that update for today.
You're welcome.
All right.
All
Have
right.
a great day.
You too.
Okay.
Bye.
Well, now we know exactly what to expect with the weather, Mar. It's going to be hot, continuous hot weather. And so we want for folks to stay hydrated. Make sure that you're wearing something cool. Make sure that you continue to feel cool as the weather remains hot.
Yeah, I'm very sure people in Orange Walk and Cayo were saying, yeah,
Oh, my
96
goodness.
is not cool. It's still very, very warm. Please remember to stay hydrated during
sir.
this time.
All right. And so we've got three segments to line up, 3 segments actually to reckon with. We'll be starting this morning with a conversation with one Anthony Denny of VC3 TV in St. Vincent. As you know, our sister nation at this particular point suffering from Volcano La Soufriere in St. Vincent. We'll be chit-chatting with him to find out what the current situation is on that island.
All right, and the second part of our show, we're going to have some health tips. We'll have pediatrician Dr. Cecilia Eck joining us. Some children are going back to the classrooms. What are some of the things that you need to be ensuring that they're doing as they go to school and especially when they come back home?
Definitely.
So we'll have that conversation as the second part of our show.
And we'll be wrapping things up this morning with a conversation with Rep from Uno Belize, as they'll be telling us about their products and service, what we should expect when we go to their service station. So we've got that and more coming up for this morning. We need to take a break, but just before we do, we've got a birthday shout out. And of course, we want to say a big happy birthday to Maritza Martinez. Maritza, happy birthday to you from your entire family, from all of us here at Channel 5 and all of us right here on Open Your Eyes. Do enjoy your day today. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll be chit-chatting with Rep all the way in St. Vincent. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Currently, we're using Smart Elite VoIP calling plan. We use it interbranch, we use it to call outside, and we also use it to call international. It's far cheaper than what we used to have before. Our equipment, our new PBX box is new. So the PBX is very good because I can call to my Sartaneja branch, I can call to my Kikaka branch, I can call to San Pedro branch, and there's no cost using the PBS. Actually, right now, since we're in different locations, I can call main office from where I am at a no cost using the PBX system. I would recommend it, sure I would, especially the big enterprises who has a lot of employees. There's a lot of reduction in costs, 50% of saving. But that on a year, it's a lot of money that we're saving. Money that we could return to our members, since we give back dividend to our members.
Visit our showroom or call 670-6710 to find out how Smart's corporate plan and PBX systems can benefit your business. Consultation is free.
Hola, Tony.
Hey Kevin, ¿qué onda? ¿Qué pasa?
Nada, le vine a buscar porque necesito comprar más mercancías de vasos y platos desechables para mi tienda de comestible. Me estoy quedando sin esas cosas.
No, hombre, fíjate que desde el 15 de abril no puedo importar nada de eso. Y se me acaba de terminar todo lo que tenía hace como 3 semanas.
Oye, pero nunca has estado sin esas cosas. ¿Qué está pasando?
Mira esto. Esta es la nueva ley que prohíbe todo el uso de plásticos no reutilizables. Esos son vasos, platos, cucharas, tenedores, todo eso. Desde 15 de abril de este año no he podido importar nada de eso. A partir del 15 de enero del 2021 nadie puede fabricarlo. 15 de abril 2021 nadie lo puede vender. Y a partir del 14 de julio del 2021 si alguien te agarra con eso, te multan.
Híjole, no sabía eso. Necesito cambiar algunas cosas. Les diré a mis clientes por qué esas cosas ya no están disponibles. Gracias, Antonio.
Así es, cuídate.
As one of the largest cable and internet providers in Belize, CBC strives to provide our customers with the highest standards of quality, value, and service in all aspects of cable TV and internet. Monitoring our systems closely, our technicians combine creative planning and state-of-the-art technology with years of experience and training to develop and provide the most reliable and advanced cable and internet service to exceed your expectations. For CBC and our team of talented engineers, technicians, and customer service representatives, delivering less than the very best is never an option.
When someone you love becomes a memory, the memory becomes a treasure. Channel 5 introduces the Daily Obituaries. The Daily Obituaries will broadcast all death and funeral announcements and memorials to honor your loved one's life and memories. The Daily Obituaries airs on Channel 5 prior to the evening newscast, with subsequent repeats at 10 p.m. and 12 noon the following day. It will also be placed online on our social media platforms, all for a standard package fee. Celebrate their lives and memories with Channel 5's daily obituaries. Honor in life and reverence in death.
Hello, Belize. You may not be aware of the new travel requirements set in place by the Center of Disease Control and Prevention. Passengers traveling to the U.S. must present a negative COVID test or a documentation of having recovered from COVID-19 to travel to the U.S. In light of this, Maya, in partnership with Caring Hands Clinic, have established testing centers in all their municipal airports. Caring Hands Antigen Test Center is operational in San Pedro, Belize City, Dangriga, Placencia, and Hopkins. These testing facilities are staffed by licensed healthcare professionals, including doctors, registered nurses, and nurse practitioners. Testing is done using Abbott rapid test devices that are FDA approved and made in the USA. The service is safe, fast, affordable, and the close proximity of the centers makes them convenient. Walk-ins are welcomed, but appointments are encouraged. If you would like to make an appointment, please feel free to do so at Make your appointment, get tested, and in 15 minutes, you can get back to your vacation.
Back to Open Your Eyes, and we're now moving into our first segment. This one is about our sister Caribbean nation of St. Vincent. At this particular time, experiencing volcanic ashes on that island from Volcano La Sophia. And in with us to talk to us about it, Product Development Officer, Vincentian Cultural Connection Channel V3 is. VC3, that's Anthony Denny. Anthony, good morning.
Well, pleasure, to be with you guys this morning in Belize, our Caribbean brothers, and I understand we have a bit of a connection with you guys to the whole matter of the Garifuna.
Yes.
Right, that part of the island that has been significantly affected by the explosive eruption of the La Sophia volcano. A lot of persons from Garifuna descent, normally live in that area.
Wow.
And I know for a fact, as I said before, persons in Belize, with the Garifuna tradition, some of our Garifuna people are being displaced at this point in time.
Anthony, that touched my heart that you mentioned it, because I am Garifuna, full Garifuna, 100% Garifuna. So it touched my heart to hear you mention that. Before we continue on, though, I'd like to know, or we would like to know, what is the current state of St. Vincent as we speak?
All right, well, currently, I'm present in the green zone, so it's more or less calm at this point in time. But what I can say to you, overnight, we had yet another explosive eruption. Yesterday, April 13th, marked the 42nd year since we would have had an explosive eruption of the La Sophia volcano here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The last time it did so was back in 1979. And yesterday morning at about 6:30 a.m. local time, we had an explosion. It's as if she was, probably, giving us a display on her birthday, so to speak. The volcanic activity has now moved from us having a lot of ashfall to what is now called pyroclastic flows, and this is now more dangerous to vegetation, farmland, and plant life, and the farm, infrastructure, houses, anything that is in the path of the volcano at this point in time, can be significantly affected by these pyroclastic flows, and that is what we are being faced with at this point in time here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Wow. Yeah. Help us understand more about the communities that surround the volcano and the population size as well.
I'll start first on the population size of the affected areas. Of course, just as is in Vincent and the Grenadines, we have a population of just over 110,000 people. But immediately affected, those in the red zone, about 20,000 persons. As of yesterday, we have about 85 shelters, and there were 3,719 persons housed in those 85 shelters. What is good is that a lot of families and friends have opened up their doors in the green and the yellow zones to take in persons affected, and this is sort of taken off the brunt of the effect, so to speak, on the shelters, with regards to providing food and shelter to persons who have come in. But by and large, the area is more or less a farming community. A lot of persons ply their trade from farming, from fishing. On the northeastern side, we have a lot of what is called the arrowroots. There's something called Madongo that is pretty much affiliated yet again to the Garifuna. But these are communities that are very closely knitted, and it's. I think might have lost our connection momentarily there. I was just saying that these are communities that are very closely knitted, and the effect that they're going through at this point in time is really heart-rending, so to speak.
And for people who've never traveled to that part of the Caribbean, the volcano is located on the largest island of St. Vincent, but it's on the north side, and the majority of the population, or the denser part of the population, is more on the south side. That's where you are.
That is correct.
Okay.
The population density is more concentrated from within the middle of the island, heading further south.
South, yes.
And as I said, I'm in the green zone, the safe zone.
So can you go back to some of the early indicators? In fact, there were some early signs of possible activity way before what we saw this week. And I know there were talks of a potential eruption, but of course when it's been over 4 decades, people don't necessarily think it's going to happen. Was that the case? I think yes, we do have a momentary break in.
So it all started. It started back in December of 2020. Where that is, guys, are you hearing me?
I'm sorry, Anthony. Start back again with the response to that question. You said it started in December.
Yes, the eruption started back in December of 2020, where the volcano was just oozing magma, from below. And that was the effusive stage of eruption. Had absolutely no threat to life or persons who would have lived in close proximity to the volcano. And in doing so, it formed a second dome right next. As a matter of fact, it smacked the existing dome that was there from 1979. And this continued for about a 3-month period. We had the situation where persons in the area would have spoken about smelling sulfur and things of the like. So these were the early indicators, to the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines that something was happening at the La Soufrière volcano. We have the
And once again, we do want to let you know that Anthony is joining us.
The Seismic Research Center, and day after day, what was taking place at the last.
Yeah. So once again, to our viewers, we do have Anthony joining us. He's live in St. Vincent at the moment, so we're having just a bit of internet difficulties. He's still there. We'll just get you to finalize that point again. You were saying that there was a new dome that came after the activity that you saw in December. And I guess to casually put it, that's like putting a brand new cap or cover on what was there. And the signs continued up until April 9th, where you saw the first eruption. Can I ask you, Anthony, Was it a matter of this being a far-fetched idea for Vincentians that it would actually lead to this type of eruption?
I don't think it was far-fetched because, as I stated earlier, I don't know if you heard me.
Yeah.
We were getting almost daily bulletins from the observers, the scientist team, sorry, that was observing and still continues to observe the volcano. So persons are being prepped as to the possibility of us moving from an effusive stage of eruption to an explosive stage of eruption.
Yeah.
Persons were living in the red zone. They were asked to prepare, pack for at least a 3-day period, essential items, food, clothing, and things of the like. So there was that preparation stage, where persons had the mindset that there was that strong possibility that we could have moved to an explosive eruption of the La Sofia volcano, and that happened on April 9th.
Yeah, and just the day before, it was evacuation, or a few days before, it was evacuation mode as the information was disseminated that the eruption was imminent.
Well, what I can say to you, the evacuation order was given on the Thursday, the 8th of April. As a matter of fact, 4:30 p.m. on that day, that order came from Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves. But prior to that, there were a series of volcanic tectonic earthquakes, tremors, that were being felt by persons in close proximity to the volcano. And there were some persons who did not wait for an order, who would have, moved out at that point in time. They would have gone into whether guest houses, hotels, or even families and friends. Persons were already making that movement. So when the order came that afternoon, 4:30 p.m., we then had the mass exodus on the leeward side of the island. Persons moved out by boats. There was buses, private vehicles, that assisted in ensuring that, people got out of the red zone.
Yeah.
So just for folks to understand, one of the things that came to mind here, I was thinking, was there any warning? Because some 4 decades ago, a little above 4 decades ago, that particular volcano did the same thing that it's doing right now. Now, were there people who have lived through that particular one, giving warning signs, probably even months prior to?
Well, one of the good things this time around is that we had about 3 to 4 months warning. As I explained, the eruption started back in December of 2020 effusively. So that was ample warning for the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. One of the problems, though, as I speak now, there are still persons who are housed who have taken the decision that they're not going to move from the danger zone, from the red zone. Persons are saying, they need to protect their property, maybe animals, a minute sector, may I say.
Yes.
But one of the things in making the comparison to 1979 to what is happening right now in 2021, the scientists are saying to us that the comparison is way different. It is more likened to an eruption that took place back in 1902.
Wow.
Where in 1902, the eruption lasted for almost 10 months.
Wow.
Right? There was series of eruptions over a 10-month period, flows that I spoke about early on. And persons would have I think I would have.
At that point, you're good now. You could continue.
Right. I was making the point in making the comparison to 1979 to 2021. Those persons who would have lived through the 1979 eruption, that comparison was certainly not a good one because it's way different now. The amount of act we've seen, even going back to Saturday and Sunday, the last weekend, there were several areas in St. Vincent and the Grenadines where at 10 o'clock in the morning, you swear it was 10 o'clock in the night.
Wow.
Because of the huge amount of ash fall.
Yeah. Yeah, we're getting quite a bit of break in transmission there. I do
Am I
believe.
here with you guys?
Yeah,
you're here.
There is a bit of a break in a transmission. I want to get to the response, and I know that there was a video, an interview that you were able to get with Prime Minister Ralph Gonsalves just yesterday as he was touring the area itself. I'm going to talk to our production crew to see if we can get that queued up, maybe work on the connection, because there's a lot more we want to know about what's happening in St. Vincent. Our hearts go out to you all. There are ongoing appeals, and we want to hear more about the devastation. So for context, Anthony, tell us a bit about this interview.
Well, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves basically said to the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines that we are in this for the long haul. And one of the things is that PM Gonsalves, he's guided by what the experts say. He's guided by what the scientists, certainly, have brought to the fore. And we are now being faced, apart from the fact that there's this volcanic eruption, globally, there's a COVID-19 pandemic. And it's quite naturally here with us in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And PM Gonsalves would have said to us that, it is important that as we face the Lasso Freire volcano, that persons, do get vaccinated. We're having thousands of persons being displaced, whether or not they're headed into shelters or into private homes or guest houses. There's that mass exodus, and therefore creating the potential for further infections with regards to COVID-19. We have seen here in this country of ours, within recent times, there have been a slowing with regards to the numbers, of persons coming forward to be vaccinated. We have thus far received 45 and 24 or 69,000 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine. And I can say to you that we're just over 12,000 persons thus far receiving their first dose. So you'll see that quite naturally there's a slowing with regards to that. When you twin that with the Lasso Freire volcano, exploding, and as I said, that mass exodus of persons into this smaller zone, the potential is definitely there for further infection. So Prime Minister certainly enlightened persons, with regards to that, and even more importantly, letting us know that we are in this for the long haul. It might be for 3 months, it might be for 6 months, it might very well be for a year. And if such is to happen, of course, from an economic standpoint, it means that there are some difficult times ahead for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But he did note that CARICOM have responded in a magnificent way. The current chairman of CARICOM, the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Keith Rowley, he has definitely responded very well. The other Caribbean countries and St. Lucia, Grenada, Barbados, St. Kitts, I understand even Belize at this point in time that you are making preparations to send items over to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Just yesterday, we had a shipment of supplies coming in from Trinidad, water, along with food supplies. The day before, there was a ship from Venezuela doing the same thing, bringing in a lot of supplies here to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But one of the things that we so need at this point in time, yes, there's a need for food supplies and possible clothing and supplies for children and babies. But very, very important item that is needed is it is an item that, normally we don't really pay much regard to it, but right now it's a high value item, and that is water. What I can say to you is that here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, our water, we take our water from the mountains. There are several water catchments that are set up by the Water Authority. But with the ash fall, there's a creation of a sludge-like, or slush, I should say, slush-like material at the head of the catchment areas. And that is limiting the intake of water into the catchment areas. And certainly the Water Authority now has to limit the amount of water that is now being provided to the homes and to the shelters here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And that in itself certainly has created a problem. So water is an item that we really need at this point in time.
Thank you. Thank you so much for letting us know that.
Yeah,
That's very helpful in being able to know how we can assist. So we're going to take a moment to go to that interview that VC3 did yesterday with Prime Minister Ralph Gonsalves.
13 million cubic meters of material which had formed the dome approximately in the volume, which has been blown away. And new material is also coming up from in the volcano. And fortunately, a lot of the material has gone to the sea. But a lot is here and a lot, I was just talking to Mia Mapley, the PM of Barbados, and a lot has reached Barbados. And we don't know how long this spewing is going to take place. The seismologists don't know, in fact, what the work they're doing. They're collecting samples. And through their testing, they're going to be able to give us some indication as to what do they think. Of course, it's not a precise science when you're doing these prognoses. This cleaning up is going to be massive, as you can see already. This is not. Remember this. The weight of this and the nature of this. Mashing up houses already, you know. Crashing the roofs, crashing the windows and doors. They're getting inside of the houses. It's a very serious problem. And the cleaning up of this alone is going to be massive. This will continue in this kind of a way. I've been advised over the next few days, maybe weeks. And we don't know what is the extent of the size of the magma chamber and all of that. But scientists would advise us.
I've been speaking to some folks from the international media, and what a lot of them seems to be asking is, how is the international community responding? Have you been receiving word? Do you think they can do more? What is the status?
It's early days in terms of providing relief. But a number of Caribbean countries have already been mobilized and providing relief. We know the Barbados Coast Guard came, I understand. Trinidad is sending stuff. On Tuesday, a vessel is coming up with supplies from Guyana. President of Guyana and I just spoke. On Monday, a vessel coming up from Venezuela. We have been in touch with the World Bank, we're in touch with the UN system, we're in touch with the Americans, we're in touch with the British, we're in touch through diplomatic channels with the Canadians too. I spoke to the people from the US Southern Command, which is a very important resource. Yesterday morning I had a discussion at 7 o'clock our time with the Foreign Minister of the Republic of China, Taiwan, Joseph Wu, because I wanted to speak to them about, I'd set the appointment to speak to them about their train crash. But in the meantime, we had our challenges, so we spoke about both things. And received commitments for reconstruction, rehabilitation, and so on. So we pouring in the region has been splendid. CAFA has been working well. SIDEMA has been working well. I just spoke to Liz, who is the head of SIDEMA. The RSS, I spoke to Captain Sholan, the CARICOM Secretariat, the OECS Secretariat, the various governments. We are doing the coordination, and I'm doing it on the road in between doing ABC and these things. This is how you got to do it.
And I must commend him for the amount of energy and enthusiasm he has been showing even for his age. I don't think I have.
Well, I'll tell you now. I don't know if that brain inside there which you have got as much energy, that young brain, as this older computer.
And there you have it.
It's good to know there's some time for humor there, Anthony. And that's one of the key points I wanted to be able to make note of. Injuries, casualties. So far, everyone is still safe.
Yes, everyone is
Yeah.
still very much safe. There hasn't been any reports of any casualties, loss of life, or injuries or anything of that sort. So, you know, right now we're looking pretty good.
Yeah.
But just to say, that interview that you just showed a while ago, that took place Saturday last.
Okay.
Prime Minister Dr. Al Gonsalves made a visit to the red zone. So he was in the thick of things, you know, looking at the assessing the damage and looking at the huge amount of ash that fell on that part of the island.
Yeah. You know, one of the things you could clearly hear, he seemed, you know, listening to the voice there, exhaustion, but at the same time trying to provide hope to the people of St. Vincent that we're working as hard as possible to try and get things as normal as possible in the quickest amount of time. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, certainly, and this is a prime minister who will say to you that, you know, we're never in crisis mode. With every negative or every downfall, we look at the positive side and use that to uplift ourselves. And he certainly said to the people in Vincent and the Grenadines, you know, the La Soufrière eruption of 2000, we certainly have to come together as a nation. We have to put the politicking aside, and we certainly have to bind together as a people. One of the amazing things I can report to you, we just had a general elections here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, November 2020, and I visited one of the shelters on Saturday where we were making the rounds. The current Minister of Finance, the parliamentary representative for a constituency called East St. George, he was very much on the ground there at that shelter. And also present was his opponent, a lady by the name of Miss Laverne Bellox, and they worked in unison. And for me, that was a pretty good, a good indicator to the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines for us to, you know, put all political or whatever
divides aside,
divisiveness that we may have, you know, between us, because we are at a point in time where we certainly have to work together to benefit all of us. And that was a plus for me.
Now, what's the message coming out today? As you noted, last night's eruption is one that is particularly worrisome because you've moved from the phase of ash being spewed into the air, where we're seeing the possibility of magma and it becoming more dangerous and possibly deadly. What's the message coming out from your NEMO?
Well, the message coming out from NEMO is that we are moving to that next stage where we're still going to be having some ash fall, but not at the magnitude that we would have seen, you know, over the last 3 to 4 days. But there's even now a greater threat with the pyroclastic flows that are taking place in the red zone. There is the situation where these pyroclastic flows are damaging vegetation, plant life, houses being destroyed, infrastructure, so to speak, being destroyed. Anything in the path of these pyroclastic flows really and truly don't stand a chance. And that is the at this point in time. And quite naturally, whatever you can do from a personal standpoint, whether you want to be a volunteer at a shelter, whatever little contribution you can make, you know, to assist a friend, a family, that is the message that they're pushing out at this point in time. And very importantly, Vincentians are being urged, you know, to conserve their water, the use of water as much as possible. There's a directive coming out that there should be no use of hoses, whether it's to power wash down vehicles. That is a no-no at this point in time, because we need to conserve our water, you know, for future use, so to speak.
And just to put it into perspective, you know, we are still in a pandemic. And as you started to mention earlier, I do want to find out a bit more. What was the status of, or what were the number of cases that you had prior to the mass evacuations? I think I heard you said that you had in fact vaccinated, was it 12,000 people?
Just over 12,000 persons.
Okay.
Yes. With regards to infections, we were about 1,760, climbing up to about 1,800 persons who were infected just before we had the explosion last Friday, the 9th. By and large, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, for the most part of 2020, from March right into as late as December, December 10 cases. I was saying we only had 110 cases over a 9-month period.
Okay.
But then we had a serious spike from December into January to February. And we are now experiencing that, if I can say, that flattening of the curve, where we're seeing less cases. Within the last 3 to 4 weeks, so we would have had less than 75 cases here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but the threat is very much here.
Yeah.
We know certainly what COVID-19 can do. It only takes that one case, to infect so many. So, persons are being encouraged certainly to follow all the guidelines, the wearing of the face mask, which is a must at this point in time. Based on the fact that there's so much ash around. The physical distancing, well, we know that is going to be a difficulty, especially in the shelters, but whatever can be done to follow the protocols, persons are being advised to do so.
Anthony, you guys, just like Belize, heavily dependent on tourism. Are your borders open? What can you say about this particular aspect?
Our tourism sector has taken a beating, a real hard, lash, for want of a better terminology, coming out of COVID-19. There are lots of persons who have lost their jobs, who have lost their income streams. We would have seen where the cruise lines there were no cruise lines coming into St. Vincent and the Grenadines for the last cruise tourism period. And, that in itself was a devastating blow to the hoteliers, the craft makers, the simple huckster on the road, so to speak. So, that was, as I said, a huge blow to all of us. But one of the good things that we have going for St. Vincent and the Grenadines, though we're, dependent on tourism, agriculture is so very much important to us. And during the time of COVID-19, we were able to provide agricultural supplies to Trinidad and Tobago, to Barbados, and to other territories regionally. So that in itself would have been a bit of a buffer, for farmers and for the government overall in terms of revenue. Though it is not anything to thump your chest about, it was just another era where there was that bit of hope from an economic standpoint, for the economy of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
It is a beautiful island. It is a beautiful nation. What would you want for folks to understand about your country, so they could, even if by any which way, means or form, they could actually reach out to help?
Well, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, as you said, it's an absolute gem. It's a beauty. 32 island and the Keys, of course, there's the mainland, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We have volcanic nature, so much of the beaches on the mainland are black sand, but that in itself is a huge selling point, because we have visitors who come to our shows and marvel at the fact that they encounter black sand, and persons will collect them to take them back to wherever they're heading back to. Ecotourism is surging here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The Grenadine Islands, Bequia, which is the largest island, that's where you'll find the white sand. That's where you'll find a lot of yachts docking in. They thrive on fishing and things like that. Trust me, there's some beautiful islands here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Yeah.
But coming back to what is happening at this point in time, persons affected certainly do need as much help as they can possibly get, and I'm appealing to the people of Belize, whatever you can do, be it water, food supplies, clothing, even to a certain extent. If you can get them together and send them down to St. Vincent, we will certainly appreciate it. And I want to leave you with these two numbers, because you can make a contribution directly to the National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO. That contact number is 1784-456-2975. I'll repeat it, 1784 456-2975. And there's also a hotline, 1-784-526-3000.
Yeah.
That's 1-784-526. Let me do that again. 1-784-526-3000. That's the hotline. So you can reach anyone and make your contributions directly.
Anthony, thank you so much for being able to share with us what's happening on the ground there in St. Vincent. We've been reporting on it here in Belize since last week, and it's so important that we hear firsthand what people are experiencing and some of the major concerns that you have there. St. Vincent, like all of us, you've been devastated economically by COVID and, of course, crippled by some of the typical activities that we can't have anymore. I can only imagine the sense of concern with COVID still being prevalent that you all have, and now to face the continuous eruptions of the volcano. Thank you for sharing with us, and we do wish you all the best. Please continue to stay safe.
Well, guys, thank you very much, for hosting me and giving me that opportunity just to enlighten the people of Belize what is happening here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And it's my hope, that we do get some positive results, that certainly we do get some sort of relief or aid coming out of your country. Thanks once again.
Thank you.
All right. So that was Anthony Denny of VC3 giving us wide scope as to the situation there in our sister island of St. Vincent. We're about to take a break. When we come back, you might be skeptical about sending your child to school because, of course, we're in a pandemic. But at the same time, we'll be having in with us Dr. Cecilia Eck to tell us what not to do and what to do to prevent the spread of COVID-19 in the classrooms. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Working off-site doesn't mean you have to be off your game. Studies have shown that simply adding a keyboard and mouse to your laptop increases productivity by 26%. Add a monitor and you'll be 35% more productive. At Voltec Systems, we have what you need to enhance your remote work or e-learning experience. With devices such as headsets, video conferencing monitors, webcams, keyboards, mice, docking stations, all with the brands you trust. Keep connected with collaboration tools like Microsoft 365 Suite and Kaspersky and perform efficiently no matter where you are. Voltec Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price, but stay for the service.
In these challenging times, the one thing that is certain is that the Belize Bank Limited is here for you. There is nothing more important than your health and safety, and we continue to make every effort to make banking safer for you. Our staff is working around the clock to make sure you can do your banking conveniently 24/7 using our mobile banking app and online banking and keeping ATMs up and running. We value your relationship with us and are here to provide the support you need. First responders are also out there 24/7. Thank you, healthcare workers, security forces, firefighters, caregivers. You are all appreciated. Stay safe. We will get through this together. The Belize Bank, our country, your bank.
When someone you love becomes a memory, the memory becomes a treasure. Channel 5 introduces the Daily Obituaries. The Daily Obituaries will broadcast all death and funeral announcements and memorials to honor your loved one's life and memories. The Daily Obituaries airs on Channel 5 prior to the evening newscast, with subsequent repeats at 10 p.m. and 12 noon the following day. It will also be placed online on our social media platforms, all for a standard package fee. Celebrate their lives and memories with Channel 5's Daily Obituaries. Honor in life and reverence in death.
passengers traveling to the U.S. must present a negative COVID test or a documentation of having recovered from COVID-19 to travel to the U.S. In light of this, Maya, in partnership with Caring Hands Clinic, have established testing centers in all their municipal airports. Caring Hands Antigen Test Center is operational in San Pedro, Belize City, Dangriga, Placencia, and Hopkins. These testing facilities are staffed by licensed healthcare professionals, including doctors, registered nurses, and nurse practitioners. Testing is done using Abbott rapid test devices that are FDA approved and made in the USA. The service is safe, fast, affordable, and the close proximity of the centers makes them convenient. Walk-ins are welcomed, but appointments are encouraged. If you would like to make an appointment, please feel free to do so at Make your appointment, get tested, and in 15 minutes, you can get back to your vacation.
Today's COVID update is brought to you by Fulltech Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price, but stay for the service.
Welcome back to Open Your Eyes. We're moving now into our second segment. Of course, this one courtesy Fulltech Systems. Thank you so very much. And like we mentioned earlier today, some schools got reopened this past Monday. Today is Wednesday, but at the same time, there are parents out there who are very skeptical. We are in the times of pandemic. COVID-19 is upon us. And because of you being skeptical, it's simply because you don't want for your child to actually contract the virus. We've got in with us to tell us more about it, what not to do, Dr. Cecilia Eck, pediatrician there at the KHMH. Dr. Eck, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Jen. Thanks for having me, and morning to Miss Marlene as well.
Yeah.
It's been too long that we have met in person, but this is the first step in the right direction.
Yeah. Dr. Eck, let me just start off by saying, you know, one of the things that we thought of when we were looking at schools reopening is, one, there is a lot of skepticism or fear that parents still feel about having the children go back to school.
Yeah.
But also, we haven't discussed what the children need to learn or understand about how to interact in what still is our new normal. Let's start there. You are a parent. How do you feel about children going back into a classroom?
Well, it's a two-edged sword. The first thing I do know is that it has, as a pediatrician and a parent, I know that it has affected my kids, and it has affected a lot of the kids who have come into the office. I know it has emotionally affected many of them, because I've been seeing over the last year a lot of kids with sleep issues, insomnia, kids with eating problems, more tic disorders, a lot of kids with anxiety and panic issues. I know it has affected them socially, because I hear every day in my daughter's room her screaming with her friends, playing some game, Minecraft, or I don't know the names of the
Roblox.
You hear them, yeah, Roblox, and they're screaming, and I'm saying, is this the new norm?
Yeah.
So socially, it has affected them. Learning-wise, I meet a lot of the teachers. They bring their kids in, and my question usually to them is, how is it going? And I get a mixed reply. Most of them, I'd say maybe 80% say that this long distance learning is not working. We need face-to-face. We need to learn face-to-face. And then finally, physically, it has affected them, because I've noticed that a lot of the kids coming in have obesity. They're sitting down, playing these games.
Yeah.
The parents are guilty like me, so I go to the supermarket and buy burnt Cheetos and Gatorade, and they're just getting chunky. So it has affected them a whole lot. And I do know that that's one edge of the sword. They need to get back to school. The other edge of the sword, as the parent is telling me, should I send my child back? Is it safe for my child to come in? We do know that they get 30 to 50% less infections than adults because they have a natural or close to natural immunity to this COVID issue, and they have fewer symptoms. But the biggest risk is to try and avoid them becoming vectors. I
Carriers.
usually equate it to the Aedes aegypti mosquito in dengue. We don't want them to get COVID. The symptoms they're asymptomatic, and then they take it home to vulnerable parents or grandparents, or in Belize's case, great grandparents, who then become sick and end up in the hospital. So that the aim is to open schools without those areas becoming centers of illness transmission. So that should be the aim. With let us do what we need to do. Yeah.
That's such a critical point, because I hear so often from people, and you're right, people are on both ends. Some people are saying, no, I don't feel safe having my child go back, and others are saying, but children are unaffected. Yeah. So let's really dive into this and have us understand it better. Do children get COVID? And if they do, do they get symptomatic?
Yes, ma'am. So let's answer that straight. All the studies, the initial one from out of Wuhan, straight up to the ones coming out of Denmark and Germany and the US, have shown that kids do get COVID. The issue with children is that because they've been getting the other COVID viruses and flu-like illnesses early on, their immune system can handle infection better, and they can kill this virus without it causing symptoms in them. Okay. So they do get it, and to make it even closer, bring it closer to home, I have admitted the 4 kids took HMH with COVID. 2 of those kids came in with simple viral illness looking infections with fever, vomiting, diarrhea, belly pain. And we didn't know it was COVID until they went back home and we got back the results. Wow. So I tell parents, it does happen, they do get ill. To me and you, when we look on our kids, we might say, oh, this is just a little stomach flu. This is just a simple cold, but it could be COVID that they're fighting through.
Yeah. So that's critical for us to know. So they may not be susceptible to severe COVID unless they have other illnesses or they have a weakened system. But they can get it and never show signs and never look as serious as what we expect COVID to look like.
Yeah. Okay. And that's the important part of the vector issue, in that they may become infected, be asymptomatic or mildly symptomatic, and then they come back home to the grandparents who, when they get it, end up in ICU or on a ventilator or with serious long-standing chronic illness.
Yeah. So that what should parents do in terms of primarily educating their children? What should parents do to safely send or feel comfortable by sending their children back to school?
So coming to the meat of the matter, prior to us starting, we were discussing the end of this storm, or the light at the end of the tunnel, and that is the vaccine. So the vaccines are in-house now. We need to immunize our kids. I mean, not our kids are vulnerable, and take it when our time comes around. We need to, I separate it simply. So the reason that point is important is that this is not something that is permanent. I think for the next couple of years, we will live through it, and at the end, we'll come out and say, remember 2020, how awful it was. So it's not the end of the road. 2, I separate it in a simple strategic way that you could implement at home. The first thing is, what are you going to teach your child at home prior to going to school?
Okay.
And it's simple. 1, you need to teach them the prevention techniques. I tell parents, you need to teach them age-appropriate lessons on COVID-19. So what you would teach at 2, 3, 5, 6-year-old is completely different than what you would teach a teenager.
Yes.
2, you need to teach them about social distancing. You need, at the younger age group, to teach them not to share all the things that early childhood development tells you to teach them. To share, to hug, to kiss, all of those are out the door right now. We need to teach them not to touch, to raise their hand if they need to go somewhere or do something.
Yeah.
That would involve that social interaction.
Yeah.
They need to know how to put on a mask and take off a mask safely. They need to learn how to hand wash and sing the happy birthday song while doing it, to do it the right way.
Yeah.
They need to know how to store their hand sanitizers, and if they're out, to ask the teacher for it. I tell parents as well, they need to do a walkthrough at the school.
Yeah.
So even before school starts, so let's say school will start next week, Thursday, Friday this week, you ask permission from the principal and you walk through and say, these are the new hand basins. The security guard or the school warden will have to take your temperature. There are X's on the grounds that the teachers will put that you can't come in close proximity to your colleague. Yeah. This will be your seat. What will happen at the seat, the permission to go to the bathroom, how to put on a mask. And you ask the teacher, you ask them what is expected of the kid at school. Yeah. But all of that needs to happen even before getting ready to go to school. So they need to be sensitized that it isn't, I'm going back to the school that I left before. This is a new ball game.
That's so true. It's like going to a new school under new terms. So revise all those COVID protocols, what they must do personally and what the expectations are at school. Things like the don't sharing, those are definitely new, especially for the little ones. The don't hang out close together. All ages are affected by that. Mask use, we've always had the recommendation, I think it's under 6, don't have to wear masks. But I've found with some of my little ones, they're okay with masks. If you teach them to wear it, they want to wear it. Is it okay for them to wear them?
Yes, they can if they can understand how to do it and how to wear it. It's recommended. And I laughed because the COVID babies that I see in my clinic, the newborn babies that came through the COVID times, they are 9-month-old kids who keep on their masks because I think they find it normal, like a seatbelt.
Yeah.
So we can train them very early on how to do it. And to step further up, way down the road, Marlene and John, we need to teach the teenagers as well. It's not okay for them to hang out after school. It's not okay for them to steal a kiss behind the lunch building. It's not okay for them to invite their friends over to play,
or hang out and have drinks, or
it's not
get
okay to go to to get their bubble milk tea and talk, and that's not normal. It's also not okay for them to invite their friends and colleagues over to their homes or to go to other friends' homes. That's not okay.
All right, so we went through step 1 with what we need to teach the children. There's also some, I have doctors in my family, so there's also a protocol when you come home, when you've come from a high-risk environment. Should we be teaching children to do the same?
Yeah, but before we reach there, that's why I try to separate it in the strategic places. So one would be at home prior to going to school.
Okay.
At school, that's the other big area, and then we will approach what happens when you reach home after school.
Okay.
So at school, they need to know their specific school rules. The schools have changed since they closed, and now with them reopening, they will have more likely had gotten some advice from a public health person or a doctor for them to implement new changes at school. And all the parents and all the kids need to know this when they go to school. The second big one is a lot of people get upset about it, but it is real. We need to support our schools. We need to support our teachers. Yes. I tell all my colleagues that after I leave my kid in the care of this stranger initially at the beginning of the school year, that stranger takes over my job, and that's becomes then a personal person in my life. And I remember the teachers of my kids because we have to. Those are the kids, those are the parents of our kids when we leave them there.
Yeah.
So we have to support the school, we have to support the teachers, we have to support the parent-teacher association, and we have to help the teacher with the classroom and the preventive techniques that they will implement there.
Yeah.
At school, the biggest thing is usually to decrease physical contact. And that may mean what they're doing now, trying the different streams at the school. So some kids would come in the morning, some in the afternoon. This has worked for many other reasons in many other countries worldwide. So it's new to Belize, but if you look it up, this is an ongoing thing worldwide. Yeah. Physical distancing is important. We need to measure. We still say 6 feet. If we have the little tables I saw on TV yesterday with the barriers on the tables, those work well. But it is important to explain that the physical barriers won't prevent the young lady next door from borrowing the young man's eraser from around it.
Yeah.
And so you have to kind of teach them, don't lend your eraser. Don't lend him a pencil.
Don't share your water bottle.
Don't share your ideal.
Oh yes, taste my one.
Don't taste that girl's lollipop. Leave it alone.
Yeah.
The other point would be ventilation in the classroom. I know there are a few of the rich schools that have ACs, so that has to go completely. They need to.
That's certainly not the norm.
They need to open the windows and make sure there's a good cross flow.
There was also this conversation about fans too and how you position fans. This was early on when we first talked about reopening. Remind us again about that.
Well, the importance with the fans is not only the fans, but ventilation on a whole. And there are scientists who study this their entire lives. The bottom line with it is that the people who get the fresh air at the front, where the fan is closest to them, get less infected than the ones way at the back, where that cross flow would hit them.
Yeah.
And so the newer, richer countries now have a system where they assess the end flow. So after the breeze or the AC unit passes through one end at this end, they actually have machines that check to see if COVID is in there.
What?
Oh, wow.
And so that's at another level. At our level, just make sure the best ventilation we have possible, that air is moving, and the fewer people possible would be exposed to the end flow of the air.
Like the standing fan, for example, if we had one in studio and it blows on me, then on John, and we have somebody behind John, it's my droplets, John's droplets being transferred to the third person behind him.
Yep.
So standing
fans. So you could use it, but you mitigate it. So instead of having 3 persons behind you trying to arrange the room, that the fan would rotate and it would get 3 people instead of behind each other, but side by side. As best as you could, because in our setting, we're limited to space in the classroom.
Go back to one of the things that you said earlier, because men, it's such a critical point. You said support your school, and one of the things that we've heard from teachers is, they have to provide soap and hand sanitizer and all the other stuff. I understand parents, they pay fees, they think, okay, well, everything should be covered. But if you know that the school doesn't have enough, just saying they're supposed to provide it doesn't keep your children safe.
You're completely right. And independent of COVID, when the schools were starting, if you would go and talk to some of the teachers, they would say that we need this, we need that, we need the pens, we need it. Because a lot of the kids are sent to school without the basic requirements for learning. And now, in addition to that, we step up to the next level where the parents at the school, the teachers, now have to protect their kids, their babies that come in from getting a deadly illness that they could take home to their parents and grandparents. So we need to support them, and it's not that we have a lot of money to give, but it really is self-serving. We support that school, we won't get sick. Our kids won't bring home the illness. It can't be that we shun that responsibility and place it only on the teachers.
Doc, how important is it that teachers get vaccinated?
Very, very, very important. a long discussion on it, and we do know that that's the light at the end of the tunnel. The more people, more society that get vaccinated, the better for us. That is it. It won't be the end of it, but it will be to a certain level that we can control it. And the most vulnerable group at school would be not the children, but the teachers. So the whole aim with getting over this pandemic is to protect the most vulnerable. At school, the most vulnerable won't be the kids, but the teachers.
We do have a question coming in.
1 second, we just have a question coming in from a viewer. They're asking if it's okay for children to get what they're calling a mask break, because they're saying, you know, they keep it on the whole time. Sometimes they say they feel uncomfortable or sick or dizzy. Is that, what's your thought there?
Yeah, well, there's a big issue with the mask. The bottom line with it is, one, as you know, and it's not just a mask break. That is one part of it. The specific answer to that is yes. Give them the mask breaks, but the mask break has to occur maybe one at a time, maybe in a little group that are separated. So at each desk, you would say maybe 2 at a time or 3 at a time, but it can't be everybody at the same time.
Yeah. Okay.
2, more important than that is, 1, to get a mask that works, one that fits snugly, that's made of cloth, a good material. 2, to individualize it, because I know with my daughter, she loses everything. So I have to write Rihanna on her books and her papers and her handbag and her water bottle and you know, each individual eraser. It's the same thing with face masks. So you need to go and buy a good face mask that's durable, washable, and 2, that is independent to that kid. So we know that child, that's his or her face mask. Because they can't share it, we need to teach them how to put it on, how to not touch the face and the eyes when they take it off. And I would say that maybe the first week at school is to teach them how to be safe at school. After that, then you can start with the teaching.
So then, let's take it home. When they come home, and this is really key too, I would hope that if you have a vulnerable person at home and you're sending your child back to school, that you have made sure that they're vaccinated. But that you made sure that the vulnerable person at home is vaccinated. But let's talk about...
well, let me finish at school. At school,
okay, sorry.
I would say the other stuff would be regular cleaning of everything that you do in your studios. Regular cleaning of the surfaces, improving hand hygiene, teaching prevention, the respiratory etiquette story. Lunch rules, you have to go through what happens when they eat. Do they remove the mask for how long? But all of that at the school, they have more likely a core of people that will come up with
they have their protocols.
And we as parents have to support them and promote it. So you can't walk into school and say, my kid is not wearing a mask. Or my kid will not wash their hands, or, you know, it won't work. After school, before school, at school, after school, perfect separation, because we could implement it. And usually if we read articles, they will tell you all the proper stuff, but they won't put it in simplified terms that you could implement. So after school, we have to teach them when they leave school what they need to do when they get in the car, or how they walk at home, or how they catch the bus to come at home. Simple again, prevention, hand washing, not to touch any surface or fewer surfaces as possible. 2, the fewer places you go to, the less your risk. So this is for the bigger kids. Can't stop and get ice cream and snow cones and dollar plum. That won't happen. You go home. I mean, you know. I grew up going to Whole Redeemer, so I used to buy pepitos, and I eat no pepitos. I mean, 2, when you arrive at home, there needs to be a protocol, like for me. So during this pandemic story, I had a protocol. Me and my wife are healthcare workers, and we had a protocol when arriving home. For each house, it will be different, but it's simple. Go around the back, remove the shoes are kept outside, come in, and depending on the age of the child, you'll start to disrobe, that goes into the wash or the washroom, and then you go and take a bath, and you shower immediately. when you reach your bathroom is when you would remove your mask and dispose it or put it to wash. And all of this needs to happen before you run and play with the dog or jump on grandpa's lap or big granny for some hot Milo. All of that warm.
Don't hug granny as soon as you come home from school.
No hug the granny. The granny don't need that hug. You get a lot of hugs afterwards. And then you go and take your bath. And after all that is done, you put on you don your new mask, and then you can go and interact with the family. So the whole aim of getting at home after school is for you to be as safe as possible for the other family members, especially if you have vulnerable ones at home.
Yeah, you did one and you did two. Any three?
No, that would be the easiest thing to say with arriving at home. Yeah.
When you talk about, we mentioned, vaccinations. That's how we're going to come to the end of this particular time. And if teachers have gotten their first dose, and let's say, like, at my house, Granny has her vaccination, we're still not properly protected as yet. I mean, how important is it that we know that?
Well, with all vaccines, and that's why they go through rigorous testing, we look at them to see how effective they are with 1, 2, or 3 doses. So with the specific COVID vaccine, we can generalize and say after 1 dose, you're protected about, so let's say I give it to 100 people. All of that 100, out of that 100 people, 50 don't need any more vaccine. But we don't know which 50 are fully protected. So we give another dose to the entire 100, and that takes it up to about 90%.
Okay.
That's important. So where your mom is at now, after 4 weeks, that's when the antibodies start to rise. After 4 weeks of getting that shot, she's about 50% protected. After she waits the 2 or 3 months, 6 or 12 weeks, 8 or 12 weeks down the road, and gets the second shot, 4 weeks after that, she would be at 92% protected. And that's the importance. We need to get everybody to that level to decrease it.
I know, because it can be very, I won't lie, after the first vaccine, I started to feel like, oh, well, I'm safe now. Just natural. And I remind myself, Doc, don't scold me yet. But I remind myself.
Stop, Marlene. I wanted an opportunity to scold you. Don't do it, Marlene. Stay at home. We're not there yet.
Okay. Yes. And so I do remember to keep on my mask, especially when I go to see my mom. And these are things that we must continue as we move forward. So realistically, Doc, there are a lot of people who feel like this is too much responsibility for children. But you have the knowledge. You have to talk with them all the time and tell them what they need to do. Is it possible that we can get children to do all these protocols?
That's our responsibility as parents. And as I told you, I'm not making it up when I tell you I've seen 9, 10, 11, 12-month-old kids put on a mask and wear it like it's a headband. So it is normal. It is the new norm we have to embrace. But there's one big part that we have discussed, and that is who should stay at home.
Which children?
Yes, not all the kids should go to school. Number one would be, there are some kids who have adapted well to this social distancing. And if we have limited space at school and we know some kids are not faring so well, the ones who are doing poorly, learning-wise, should get to go to school prior to the ones who are doing well at home. And we can separate it that way. I mean, you could look at the teachers and tell them, which one do you think got the topic or is doing so well at home that they don't need to come to school?
True.
If you don't have the space. The second thing is, and this goes without saying, but if you've been exposed to COVID, stay at home. If you have any signs of COVID, and there's this long list, fever and chills, cough, the shortness of breath, sore throat, stay at home. And even myself, when I enter KHMH every morning, there's a young lady or a young man there with a little thermometer who says, Dr. you feel bad, you are in a sore throat and a muscle pain, you feel congested. So there needs to be, you need to take personal responsibility for your health and to not spread it. So if you have these symptoms, stop, so you're not going to school. And most of the time now you won't need to run down a doctor to get a doctor paper to not go to school.
So
diabetic. And then if you test, and then if you test positive,
somebody's trying to call you, aren't they?
Yes, I should.
They want to argue with you. So if a child is diabetic or anemic or has any condition, should they, asthmatic children, children with allergies, how do they fare off? Are they safer at home? Did we lose Dr. Eck? Yes, we did. That may have been an emergency call. That's the excuse we'll allow him to have. He does work at the KHMH.
Yes, he does.
But it has been some really interesting information there. And I think that final point that he said about recognizing who needs to go and who doesn't need to go. So if your child, if you're torn about the decision and you see that your child is doing well from learning at home, then you can feel safe keeping them at home. Dr. Eck, you are back. I hope it wasn't an emergency.
No emergency. Well, I'm not sure, but I'll call back when I'm emergency.
So my question was, children who have anemia, diabetes, asthma, allergies, you know, just, well, maybe allergies.
Severe allergies,
severe
asthma. We do know that they're at a high risk. Any kid who is immunocompromised, any kid who is on steroids or had chemotherapy, should stay at home. They should continue to learn at home. Any of that vulnerable group should stay at home and get as much support at home as is possible.
Okay.
I think those are the points. Those are all my points that I should make on staying or keeping our kids safe.
Great.
You have noticed that I have not, you've not interviewed me a lot during the last year.
I know.
And it's because I knew our time would come, the pediatricians, when we speak about vaccines. So you need to invite us to speak more a little bit on vaccines and how they work and who should get them and the new ones that are out now. I know the Ministry of Health is doing it and they've started their public health messages on vaccines, but you should get in contact with the other vaccine specialists like Dr. Ochoa and Dr. Rosado and the new guys like Dr. Cholin or Shula. Those are the guys out there, and you know the whole stalwarts like Dr. Rios.
Yeah.
So we need to involve more people to get the message out that the vaccines are, are light at the end of the tunnel.
Absolutely.
Well said, buddy.
And Dr. Eck, I guess it means that the kids were getting less sick this year too?
Yes. So this year we're getting much fewer kids who are sick. Because of the mask, because of the hand washing, many of the illnesses are much fewer out there. So no gastroenteritis or less gastroenteritis.
Okay.
Less cough, cold, flu, less kids with the ear infections and the sore throats and
Good. Yeah. But we must keep on fighting the obesity factor.
Yes, well, once you solve or try to solve one, the other end would pop up. So the public health people in Belize are having a bumper here. It seems that they're doing a lot of things, but it's not them. It literally is us and
it's the parents.
Not when I say us, I mean me, you, the country of Belize, and that if you would tell me I would pass one of the Chinese stores and see people outside lining up with face masks 2 years ago, I would laugh you under the table. So that will never happen in my country.
Yeah.
But they did. Yeah.
It is the reality.
Yeah. Dr. Eck, we
thank
appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm sure the parents appreciate it. This is such a critical conversation that we had to have to know exactly what we need to be teaching our children before they go to school, what to do when they're at school, and how to come home and continue to stay safe. Thank you so much. And of course, you continue to stay safe.
Thank you for having me, and nice seeing you guys again.
All right.
Thank you. All right, so we're about to take a break. When we come back, we'll be learning much more about Uno Belize, the products they've got, and the services they offer. We'll talk about that when we come back. Stay with us.
This COVID update was brought to you by Voltec Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price, but stay for the service. Working off-site doesn't mean you have to be off your game. Studies have shown that simply adding a keyboard and mouse to your laptop increases productivity by 26%. Add a monitor, and you'll be 35% more productive. At Voltec Systems, we have what you need to enhance your remote work or e-learning experience. With devices such as headsets, video conferencing monitors, webcams, keyboards, mice, docking stations, all with the brands you trust. Keep connected with collaboration tools like Microsoft 365 Suite and Kaspersky and perform efficiently no matter where you are. Voltec Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price, but stay for the service.
If we are only as strong as our families, businesses, institutions, and the communities that surround us, then by giving businesses the power to grow, entrepreneurs the ability to expand, and by giving our families the right to own something, the Belize Bank gives you the power to build a nation, our nation. We are stronger together. The Belize Bank, our country, your bank.
It's a fact that you can access unlimited services with Smart. Tired of being measured or cut off when you need to be connected? It's a fact that when you sign up for Smart's Plus plan, you get unlimited talk, text, and unlimited data. And it's a fact that you can sign up with your group of up to 5 members for Smart's Share plans and up to 40 members for Smart's Enterprise plans for unlimited talk, text, and data. Smart has the true unlimited plans. That's a fact. Be smart and live smart.
"2020 taught us the importance of being connected to the virtual world, and NextGen is here to keep its commitment to you. Even if you're physically apart, NextGen keeps you digitally connected."
Okay everyone, thank you for following me today.
NextGen provides more than just an internet plan. They provide service plans that support all your online needs. Sign up today and get your NextGen's ultra high-speed internet service. NextGen, powered by Central TV and Internet.
Hola, Tony.
Hey, Kevin, ¿qué onda? ¿Qué pasa?
Nada, le vine a buscar porque necesito comprar más mercancías de vasos y platos desechables para mi tienda de comestible. Me estoy quedando sin esas cosas.
No, hombre, fíjate que desde el 15 de abril no puedo importar nada de eso. Y se me acaba de terminar todo lo que tenía hace como 3 semanas.
Oye, pero nunca has estado sin esas cosas. ¿Qué está pasando?
Mira esto. Esta es la nueva ley que prohíbe todo el uso de plásticos no reutilizables. Esos son vasos, platos, cucharas, tenedores, todo eso. Desde 15 de abril de este año no he podido importar nada de eso. A partir del 15 de enero del 2021 nadie puede fabricarlo. 15 de abril 2021 nadie lo puede vender. Y a partir del 14 de julio del 2021 si alguien te agarra con eso, te multan.
Híjole, no sabía eso. Necesito cambiar algunas cosas. Les diré a mis clientes por qué esas cosas ya no están disponibles. Gracias, Antonio.
Así es, cuídate.
When someone you love becomes a memory, the memory becomes a treasure. Channel 5 introduces the Daily Obituaries. The Daily Obituaries will broadcast all death and funeral announcements and memorials to honor your loved one's life and memories. The daily obituaries airs on Channel 5 prior to the evening newscast, with subsequent repeats at 10 p.m. and 12 noon the following day. It will also be placed online on our social media platforms, all for a standard package fee. Celebrate their lives and memories with Channel 5's daily obituaries. Honor in life and reverence in death.
Welcome back to Open Your Eyes. We're now moving into our final segment for the morning. This one will surround a conversation with a rep from Uno Belize. We'll be talking about the products they offer and, of course, the services they offer as well. In to talk to us about it, we've got Odber Argueta, who is the General Manager of Uno Belize. Senor Odber, buenos dias and welcome.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Buenos dias to all. Thank you for having me, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to communicate what Uno is all about, what we have to offer, and to communicate that we are a brand committed with the future and committed to our customers, and that we are very grateful for our everyday visits that we get from our customers.
Exactly where I wanted to go, because we've seen Uno around for a few years. And as a matter of fact, in a lot of the Central American countries, you guys are there as well. So give us a wide scope of Uno. What is Uno and where are you located?
Uno is a regional brand. We've been here for 10 years in Belize. But we've been for more than 16 years all over the region. We are present all the way from Belize, all the way to Costa Rica, and even in Colombia. So it's a company that it's continuing growing around all over the region, and we are aiming at expanding our presence all over. Not just in the region, but we want to go further and keep growing and growing. But we know that in order to grow, first we have to do things right where we are at this moment. I mean, if we're present here, we have to do things right. We have to take good care of our customers in order to go there and bring new customers.
But up there, the competition is tough. There are so many service stations out there, and so many other brands out there. I want to know, why should we choose Uno?
Great question. This is something where, even here in Belize, let's say that we are on a regulated market. I mean, prices are regulated by the government. So you have to compete in some other ways. You have to search for new ways to compete and in order to stay ahead of your competition. So the first thing is, I would say that whenever you go to a Uno service station, you're getting more value for your money. And why? Because our fuels contain this additive, Dynamax, and we will discuss what Dynamax is later on. But so this additive, it improves, let's say, the performance for your vehicle. So let's say that you're not getting just raw gasoline or diesel, you are getting something besides that fuel, something that makes your engine, makes your vehicle's engine run smoother. It cleanses the engine, and the overall performance of that engine sees a benefit. So after you getting your filling your tank for the first time, let's say it at Uno, you will see that your overall driving experience will be better.
Yeah.
Why? Because, like I said, that Dynamax cleanses that engine of your vehicle, and at the end you get more mileage out of those gallons. So.
And Dynamax, is it only in the premium product?
Even better question.
Yeah.
Sorry, man. Sorry, man. It's an even better question.
We don't compete. We work together.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. But yeah, that is something that we also offer. Some other brands, they only put additives on their premium products. But we know that we have to give the best for a customer that wants regular, or a customer that wants premium, or even to a customer that needs diesel.
Okay.
So we put Dynamax on all our products. So you get a benefit for Dynamax even if you get $10 of regular or $10 of premium, or $5 of diesel.
Okay.
I mean, you will get that benefit.
So the Dynamax is an additive that you add to your fuel that helps with efficiency, it helps with performance, right?
Exactly.
Now, I think, John mentioned a really critical point. Many of us choose gas stations based on several things, or where we fill up our tanks. It could be based on brand. I find that the efficiency, if I put in your brand, may be better. Some of us go by proximity. That's just the one along the way.
So that's the one.
So let's, and then the third one is service. Let's tackle those two areas. One, how many stations do you have across the country? And also, let's talk about the difference in service when you go to an Uno station.
Yeah. Sorry if I'm going to
take that. You can take that.
That's fine. Sorry. I know I look better with glasses, but okay. Yeah, we know that we have different types of customers. I mean, we have some customers that take care of their vehicle more, sometimes even more than their kids, because that's their little baby.
That's
and
true.
for that kind of customers, that's why we offer Dynamax, because they want to, I mean, really take care of the engine.
Yeah.
We also know that because of proximity, customers will reach to their nearest service station. So that's why also Uno is the bigger network in branded service stations in Belize. And right now we have 16 service stations all over the country. And like I said from the beginning, we are a brand that keeps growing. And on the next weeks, we will have our 17. And by the end of the year, we are aiming at having at least 20 service stations in the country.
Where's the 17th going to be?
In Belmopan area.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that talks about the proximity. You're trying to make sure that it's something people can see, and it'll be on their way, so they can access an Uno station.
And you also mentioned about service,
That's
which
the
is
one I want to
very
get
important.
on.
Yeah, that's very important, because at the end, we all know that from time to time, we as customers, it doesn't matter if you're getting fuel or if you're getting snacks or if you're getting lubricants, we have the right to demand a good service, because, I mean, first of all, you have a lot of options there in the market. So at least the least thing that we can do to show gratitude for you coming to a service station is giving good service.
Of course.
So we keep having constant training in customer service for our staff. And if that's what drives you in order to go to a service station, I can assure you that our staff keeps a good attitude. They know what to do, how to do it, because it's, I mean, changing oil or filling oil on an engine, I mean, it looks easy, but there's some science on that. Yeah, you need some kind of training for that.
Absolutely.
So we have our pump attendants are training customer service, but also on the technical part.
But, you know, and I think the service part is what's so important. Let's take a moment to talk about how spoiled we are in Belize, that we still have gas station attendants, because in many other parts of the world, it's self-service. You pump for yourself.
Yeah.
You don't have someone to ask questions to check your engine, to help you with your tires, to, you know, clean your windshield. These are all things that we have here that we're lucky for. But the difference with when you go to a station and they pay attention to what you may need is really going to be, for a lot of us, a reason why you go back. When you look at building that relationship with your customers and you train your attendants, what are you telling them?
Yeah, well, yes. The first thing is that we have to make sure, I mean, in service is how we demonstrate how grateful we are for that visit.
Yeah.
That's the way that we can show and really make everyone know that we are very pleased and we are very grateful with that visit. Second of all, well, the customer is our priority, and we are there because of that customer. So we have to make sure that we have to please our customer. If he needs, we always say this at UNO. It doesn't matter if the customer or someone is getting there and not getting fuel. We are not gas stations. We are service stations.
Yes.
So that makes a big difference there, and that's something that we keep telling our staff, and that's something that on what we live by. We know that we are not gas stations like the rest. We are service stations. So if you need anything, I mean, for some reason our mindset is, even if your car is starting to get with high temperature, I mean, maybe the most wise thing is not for you to go to a pump where you have fuel, right? Because your car is,
you're overheating.
Yeah. But for some reason you go there. So we really train our pump attendants to be ready, to be there and to attend this person that in this case needs, it's on an emergency, let's say it. But for us to give that service, it doesn't matter if you're not gonna buy a single gallon or $2 out of gas. We're there to serve. So I know that this makes a huge difference, and I know that a lot of our customers keep going to our service stations because of that.
Well, what I know as well is that with UNO, it's not just about pumping. It's not just about pumping fuel or checking your tires or going under the hood. It's also about some of the other products to enhance your engines that you've got as well. So tell us about those, because you did mention the Dynamax, but that's just one aspect. What about the others?
Thank you. Yeah. For example, if you needed fuel, we have the best fuel. But if you need lubricants, oil for your engine, we also have the best products. UNO Lubricants, we have a whole line of products. Just like in fuel, if you have a diesel truck or a gasoline SUV, we have the right product for each and every need, according to your driver's manual, for example. These lubricants are manufactured in the U.S. So these lubricants meet all the requirements and all the quality standards from the American Petroleum Institute. So, and in addition to that, we have a very good quality products, but our prices are very competitive in the market. So you have that good mix of quality and prices.
Nice.
I love that you distinguished that you are a service station and not a gas station. So what are some of the services that people don't know that they can get at UNO when they pull up to the station?
Well, you know, for example, at some service stations, you have to pay in order for someone to check your tires, for example, the tire pressure. And if you need
air,
let's say that if you need the air, you have to pay for a compressor to start working and all. I mean, I won't say that it's a benefit that we give, that it's free. It's not a benefit. We know that it's something that we have to give. I mean, as a show of appreciation of that customer. So things like that. In some service stations, we have oil change. You just have to buy the oil from us, and we will do a free oil change.
Cool.
Yeah, and we will, like I was saying, we keep growing and growing, and on the next months we will develop a new network of small mechanic shops at the service station, and you will be able to go there, and if you just need to check the engine, a technician will be there to help you and guide you on whatever your car needs. But if you know that you need to change that oil, they will be there also, waiting for you.
They also do little things, like if you're going to put in gas, they say, okay, we'll look at the monitor, it's at 0.
It's at 0,
they're like little things that make you know that there's some quality built into the service that they're offering. And I love that you said that the attendants are trained to check the engine properly, because some of us, I'm not saying me, don't know what they're supposed to be checking. But you also have a series of giveaways that you've been doing online, and we want to hear more about that, because Belize we love winning prizes and giveaways.
Yeah, well, like you said, I mean, thank God we're still here. We have, I mean, someone is there to pump our gas, and we're spoiled, and that's good. I mean,
is this the only country that still does that?
No, we still have it around the region, but the trend is for us to go that way.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know.
Well, not here. Not here. I won't say that here or
maybe
in the
you
region,
do one pump for people who want that.
Want to do that?
And like you said, we are also spoiled, because we are waiting. Whenever we reach that pump, we want to hear that pump is at 0. So whenever you just go to another gas station, and the only thing that you get is what you want.
How much?
Well, you know what I want. That's why I came. But but we are like I said, you're spoiled, and that's good with us. I mean, we're gonna treat you right. Whenever you go there, we know what to do, and we will do it from now and then. So we also know that we have to, let's not say spoil, but we have to give back to our customers, to our loyal customers, because we have to show gratitude to them. So if you're not following on Facebook or on Instagram, I eager you to please follow us, and there you will be able to see when we have site activities at which service stations, and we have some promotions just on
for
Facebook.
People online.
And we give away fuel, some special prices, but most of the customers, I understand, they want free fuel, so most of our prices are free fuel.
Cool.
But we also have some
gift baskets and
we give like speakers and small things like that. We also gave TVs.
I saw a TV there.
And you know, our customers already know that by the end of the year we have this huge promotion by the end of the year, and we give away blenders, we give away TVs, free fuel, and all kinds of things. And this is just because we are grateful with our customers, and we have to show that gratitude to them.
And any one of those promotions going on right now, whereby if you purchase oil, you get a chance to win something?
Guys, you're competing on who's doing the best question. Nice, I really like that. Yeah, right now, next week we will start with our Dynamax surprise box.
Okay.
And we will be launching this promotion, like I said, next week, and we will have on specific dates and specific sites. Whenever you reach that pump, you will get your fuel, and at that moment we will have some kind of a roulette there, where you will have instant prices. You can get fuel, you can get T-shirts, you can get lots and lots of things. You can go from getting a pen to getting $100 of fuel. So, and we will be giving that right at that moment. So,
all right.
Right there when you spin the wheel.
Yeah,
okay.
maybe you won't even need to pay for that fuel, because you will get $100.
Probably win that.
Sounds good.
So if you're feeling lucky, please go there.
Odber, is there any final words from you? Anything else you'd like to share with us before we wrap up?
Well, thank you. Well, first of all, thank you for this time, and thank you to all of our customers. Last year was very hard for every single industry.
Yeah.
And we really, and it was hard for us because we had lockdowns and no one was going out.
Yeah.
But we saw how that good customer service and good quality on products, at the end, whenever people was going out to the streets, they were going to our service stations, and we are very grateful for that, and we are committed to still and keep bringing that good quality on our fuels, the best service that we can give, and we will keep improving in order to give Belize what Belize deserves. Belize deserves the best, and we are here to deliver the best.
Odber, we're so thankful to have had you in this morning. Now we know exactly where the promotions are, what to get, and how to get it dealt with at Uno Belize. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we're about to take our final break of the morning. When we come back, we'll be wrapping things up. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
In these challenging times, the one thing that is certain is that the Belize Bank Limited is here for you. There is nothing more important than your health and safety, and we continue to make every effort to make banking safer for you. Our staff is working around the clock to make sure you can do your banking conveniently 24/7 using our mobile banking app and online banking, and keeping ATMs up and running. We value your relationship with us and are here to provide the support you need. First responders are also out there 24/7. Thank you, healthcare workers, security forces, firefighters, caregivers. You are all appreciated. Stay safe. We will get through this together. The Belize Bank, our country, your bank.
Currently, we're using Smart Elite Vibe calling plan. We use it interbranch, we use it to call outside, and we also use it to call international. It's far cheaper than what we used to have before. Our equipment are new, PBX box is new. So the PBX is very good because I can call to my Sartaneja branch, I can call to my Kikaka branch, I can call to San Pedro branch, and there's no cost using the PBS. Actually right now, since we're in different locations, I can call main office from where I am at a no cost using the PBX system. I would recommend it, sure I would, especially the big enterprises who has a lot of employees. There's a lot of reduction in costs, 50% of saving. But that on a year, it's a lot of money that we're saving. Money that we could return to our members, since we give back dividend to our members.
Visit our showroom or call 670-6710 to find out how Smart's corporate plan and PBX systems can benefit your business. Consultation is free.
2020 taught us the importance of being connected to the virtual world, and NextGen is here to keep its commitment to you. Even if you're physically apart, NextGen keeps you digitally connected.
Okay everyone, thank you for following me today.
NextGen provides more than just an internet plan. They provide service plans that support all your online needs. Sign up today and get your NextGen's ultra high-speed internet service. NextGen, powered by Central TV and Internet.
welcome back. And just like that, we've come to the end of our show for today. We invite you to stay tuned with us as 6 o'clock this evening. We've got our newscast. That is what we do. Keep you informed, updated, and entertained. Also, make sure that we continue to adhere to our social distancing rules. And, social distance, wash your hands, wear your mask. It is very important that we do so. I always love to say that without you, we wouldn't be able to do this. If you've got any questions, any concerns at all, drop us a line at oye@channel5belize.com.
You can also find us on Facebook at Open Your Eyes BZ and on Instagram at OYEBelieve.
That's right. You can join us again tomorrow morning when you wake up.
Open your eyes.
Open your eyes.
And
start your morning right.
Until then, and keep your eyes, your mind,
and your hearts open. We just love it. Join us again tomorrow morning. Enjoy your day, Belize.
Open Your Eyes was brought to you by the Belize Bank. Our country, your bank.